Yeah.
Quite honestly, welcome to the episode that I and Amber have been waiting for. My name is Joshua James, and this is my little soul honey.
Amber Field.
That's right, my little mama. This week is just unbelievably exciting. It's been an exhilarating week. You've done an unbelievable amount. I've done an unbelievable amount, and here we are on our brand new set.
I know, isn't it beautiful?
I mean, I just can't with all of this.
That's
it is unbelievable and I got to give it to my husband, Mikey James. He pulled this out of the hat and did it in a matter of like 3 days.
Yes.
I know.
It's fantastic.
And it was so cool watching him work. I've never actually seen him get to do something like this. So this was really, really nice to see. So thank you to my mister. I love you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So we've got a lot to talk about this week.
We do. It's a really big show. Before we get started, I have to ask for apologies because my voice is a little raspy. Girls been in transformational leadership all weekend, helping people learn the gifts that they are to this world, and it was so incredibly amazing.
Yeah.
Joshua, like I'm on such a high to see other people step into their greatness and then be able to know how to go out into the world and use it. Like my soul and heart is on fire. And it is the perfect show to bring this type of energy to and get to share with such an amazing moment.
Yeah, and it was through that actual event that you and I got a chance to meet, and I got to meet your beautiful husband and your beautiful family. And
I know.
Yeah, I know. The Brady Bunch, I mean, dear Lord. So we are mad excited about this week's episode. We are being joined tonight by the one and only MaryAnne Dimarco. You had a little shot of being able to talk with her earlier this week, yeah?
Yeah, she's cute. Like,
yeah, I know.
She caught me off guard. We were doing a little meet and greet on the phone, and she called me out of a book that no one knows that I was writing.
Right.
Not even you.
Nope. I mean, I was like,
you are?
I didn't know this. You didn't share this with me. I felt so out of the loop, but when I found out that no one knew, it made me feel a little better.
That's good.
Yeah. And she said, get on it.
I wrote 2 chapters this
Look,
week. So
good
there's
for
that.
you. Good
Okay.
for you. So let's move into it, man. I really want to be able to spend the most amount of time with MaryAnne. She is just an exceptional human. I had the opportunity back in 2016 to meet her at Gabrielle Bernstein's masterclass, and it was there where she was speaking on stage about how to protect yourself as an empath, and also how to communicate with universal guidance. Mm-hmm. And she was saying something from stage that struck me, and by myself in a room full of 300 people, I was doing the ugly laugh, and which is like,
we know.
Yeah.
We got it. Seen it.
Of course, her response was, well, it's kind of like I'm psychic or something. And I was, okay. So, and somehow I knew her and I were going to be friends, and somehow her and I were going to be sitting here today. I've gotten to know her as a personal friend. I think she's really beautiful. But MaryAnne Dimarco, the medium mentor, is an internationally recognized psychic medium and renowned author who brings her unique approach to connecting clients with their loved ones. communicating with the other side since about the age of 5. MaryAnne is known for her ability to channel powerful messages from her clients, spirit guides, angels, and loved ones who have passed. She is the author of Believe, Ask, Act, Divine Steps to Raise Your Intuition, Create Change, and Discover Happiness. She's also doing mentoring with clients and developing their intuitive abilities through workshops and individual classes. This woman is legit. She has been featured on not only Gabrielle Bernstein's masterclass, but the Dr. Oz show. She's been on the New York Times, Women's Health Magazine, MindBodyGreen.com, Hot 97 morning radio show, WellAndGood.com, and the magazine's Elle and Red Book. I mean, she is a busy woman, and she's giving us some of her time. I just cannot with myself. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. And with us live, we have MaryAnne Dimarco.
Hey, lady.
Hey, hi guys.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good.
And you look
so
beautiful
happy.
as always.
Oh, thank you. It's good lighting in here, you know.
And you look so comfy in that chair.
I'm in my living room. I mean, these are the best kind of interviews to do. I could just chill. You're lucky I'm not in my pajamas on a Sunday night.
I know. I'm so used to seeing you with your big glasses on. I'm missing them.
They're right.
You got your hand. Look, you're not playing.
On. Trust me when I tell you, they will be on in just a few minutes. So I'll be putting.
Awesome.
Just get my eyes on.
So, hey, I wanted to also put out there how people can connect with you. It's MaryAnne the Medium on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, correct?
That's right. Yep. Follow me there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I hear one thing I love that you do is when people are wanting personal readings with you, you very subtly drop in that you have a 5-year wait list.
I do. I had to stop.
That is insane.
I had to stop taking names so I can catch up. But yes, I have a 5-year wait list for personal readings, just for the one-on-ones for personal readings. Yeah, but I do events, so you can always go to MaryAnneTheMedium.com and follow me on my. Go to my website and go to the events page and see what I'm doing there. So
and we'll be sure to take a moment too tonight and make sure that we'll talk about your event at the end of the show.
Before we get going, I want to make sure that people are asking questions. As MaryAnne's giving information and sharing with us, feel free, as you guys always do, to post questions. And if we can, then we'll get to them. Yeah,
that's right. And we can see those questions and she can see them as well. Yeah? Okay, so let's open it up with just a really general question. How do you connect with spirit?
I connect with spirit by seeing spirit. I hear spirit. I feel spirit. So many ways. I mean, I dream about spirit. I kind of use all of the senses. I can taste things when I'm connecting with spirit. I smell things. So I kind of do it in many, many different ways. Some psychic mediums, it's one or the other. But for me, I use everything when I'm giving a reading, all of it.
Okay, and this is in the intro. You know, it was pleasant to find out that this started kind of showing itself to you around the age of 5.
Yeah.
And so, what was that journey like for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, I was really lucky because I had a mom, and still do, thank goodness, who made it really easy for me. So she was really into spirituality and all of this, as was my grandmother and my great grandmother. They all sort of had a gift going on. So how I make connection, she sort of normalized it for me. So it wasn't really unusual. So I didn't grow up with the anxiety that a lot of psychics grow up with, a lot of empaths grow up with. I was really made to feel that it was very, very normal. And it was just like, I thought everybody can do it. I didn't think it was unusual at all. It wasn't until I got older that I realized, oh, not everybody's talking to dead people. I didn't realize that. I thought everybody was just sort of chill with them and seeing them and hearing them. So that's how I grew up, with it really being kind of a normal part of my life.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a journey for me as well, and for you too. Yeah, I don't think have you ever met somebody where their spirituality is just a definitive experience and it never wavers?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think a lot of people grow up, you know, I didn't grow up in organized religion. So when I would hear people speak of that, even now, and having trouble with the urge to sort of expand where they're feeling spiritually, but then they've been taught their whole lives, and being at that crossroads. I love having those conversations with people who are really curious about it, because I think more and more you're finding that people who grew up that way and it's ingrained in them are really starting to kind of spread out a little bit and see if there's a different understanding to what they've always intuitively felt. And so those conversations are happening more and more, especially in my mentorship that I do. And I think it's fascinating, and it's kind of exciting too, because there's truths in all of it, and there's stories to follow in all of it, in organized religion and in open spirituality. And so if we can combine the two and sort of really understand it all, I think it becomes a fascinating story for an individual.
Yeah,
because it is something that I grew up with. You know, we didn't tap into any type of psychiatric, you know, none of this. Like, what's spirituality that looks different from Christianity?
Sure,
per se.
sure.
And
praying to that higher power has always been for a lot of people, right? We all have well, for most of us, I guess, have had the belief that there is something greater than us out there. And so we all, for the most part, have a base of understanding that there is something bigger than us, than us out there. But tapping into that, there's so many different ways.
Yeah, and what it means for you.
Right, exactly. You can really personalize it for your own space. So even if you still want to keep into your religion and follow that path, there's different ways and different ideas that you can use to perceive it in a more unique way that works for you. And I think that's incredibly empowering for anybody.
So one of the things that I write about in my book is, because I come from a family of a lot of different backgrounds of spirituality, as we talked about. And what I have done in my research is that a lot of them, if not all of them, have the basis of love. We are looking to be in relationship and connection and have love. I have to share this. I pulled my card before, and it says, I choose love no matter what.
Yeah, you do.
You know, so I just feel like the world, the society wants to create a disconnect and find a reason to be up against one another, versus respecting other people's spirituality and understanding their come from is the reason why they believe the way that they believe.
Absolutely.
And everybody's gifted. Your gift happens to look like, you know, you speak into a lot of different avenues in people's lives and have a strong sense of the other side. So
I think, and even more importantly, is starting with love of self, because I think that we forget to put ourselves in that equation. And we're taught to love others so much. And you drawing that card always brings me back inward as well, to remember to put yourself in that equation, that we must remember to love ourselves. And I think that when we do that, we go forward with more honesty, not only for ourselves, but what we present to the world. And then finding your gift, which we all have, is more clear. We kind of move with a little bit more clarity, and we're able to put that gift into service in whatever capacity we want.
I love that.
Myself personally, you know, my spiritual backbone is ingrained with the fundamentals of Christianity as well. I do believe that my experiences in life have caused me to be a little more expansive. And I have now experienced not only a personal relationship with the divine, or, you know, spirit, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, and my experiences and my spirituality are beautiful and they're personal, and I was intentional around it, right? So how does somebody who's looking to connect, looking to expand spiritually, how do they connect with spirit or the universe or love?
I think the first thing that people need to understand, and what I really strongly teach, is that this doesn't have to be very wooey. It doesn't have to be so much bigger than ourselves. I mean, I'm not wearing a cape. I don't have a crystal ball in front of me. I mean, those things are wonderful if you want to use those modalities, but they're not me. And I think what you have to do is something that feels comfortable and true to you in whatever capacity, whether you're sitting in a church or you're sitting in your meditation space at home, whatever it may be. As long as it feels good to you, if it's bringing you joy and love and peace, and it's helping you find your way, that's it. That's your answer. And you can always continue to grow with it, kick it up a notch, change it. I think the evolution of it is fantastic as well, as long as it stays to your principle of feeling that inner love, that inner peace, that you're following the right path for yourself spiritually.
That's so true.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let me ask you this, because before we started this episode, we did a little test run, and I had a ladybug coming across the front of my our beautiful new set, and they've been showing up a lot for me. I have also grown to lean on and trust the guidance of numbers as communication with the other side and angels. And I've also had some experiences, I had one just this week with a beautiful friend of mine named Miranda, where she was speaking into possibly changing some things in her world. And all of a sudden, an iPad turned itself on, cued a song, and the song words were, when you speak about all of these beautiful things in life and I see joy on your face, I know it's true for you. And I could not, we were both sitting there just covered in goosebumps. So have you picked up on any signs in your personal life that have been extremely telling and maybe guided you towards a path that you might not have considered before?
Absolutely. My whole life I've paid attention to the fact that spirit was giving me cues. I can remember, driving when I was very young and hearing a voice say to me, you should really pull over because there's going to be an accident right now. And I pulled over I listened, and a car next to me went right into a massive truck, and I watched the accident unfold. And I think that when I hear those things, and I have my whole life, I still listen just like I always have, but even more so now. Now I'm just a little bit more in tune and I understand where it's coming from. But the signs are everywhere. And I think it's one of the most miraculous things that spirit can do is that they're able to work with our environment, work with the people that we know, and show us things that I think are amazing. I think spirit is incredibly clever the way they show us their signs. And so for me, yes, I live by the signs. I ask for confirmation of them. It's an everyday occurrence, which I find fascinating. Everybody can communicate with spirit and ask for confirmations with signs, numbers, anything that means something to you. Just the hearing their voices, dreams. I've had amazing dreams with spirit coming in through messages. I mean, incredible, vivid, lucid dreams. And so if you can learn to accept it, believe it, don't question it, most importantly, and go with it, it's breadcrumbs. It's their breadcrumbs. Yeah. And that's what
it's leading you.
Yes.
It's leading you.
And did you just see what happened there too? And I don't even think she recognized it in totally different words, but the same meaning. The title of your book just came out. Believe as act.
Right. It still rings true to me. and it's something that I go by and something that I continue to teach. You have to believe that there's this higher power guiding you. You ask the right questions, these signs, but spirit wants us to act. This is a team effort. They are our guides. Right. We are a universal team. And so the breadcrumbs they leave, the doors that they open, the doors that they close, all signs and guidance from them, and those are the things that we need to pay attention to and work with them. Trust them.
You got to listen. So I was busy with my crazy kids, getting them ready one morning, and I got this, hey, you need to call your mom. And I'll call my mom later. Like I'm dealing with kids. I don't have time for that right now. I walk out the door, call your mom. I ignored it. I get into my car. I go to pick up my phone to turn on the music, and I audibly heard, call your mother. Not mom, mother. And I was like, okay, oh my God. So I call her, and my dad had been in a car accident. Now, thankfully, he was okay. But she was like, your timing is impeccable. I was like, girl, that was not me. That was all God.
Right.
He was, because I actually didn't want to call you. In that moment, I was busy, right? And I'm glad everything worked out. But in that moment, my mom needed me, and I wasn't listening.
And it's easy to kind of dismiss. Oh, it's in my head. Oh, that's just my imagination. I shouldn't be paying attention to that. It's very, very easy to dismiss it. When you pay attention, however, and you incorporate it into your practice and you start to do it on a daily basis, you get better and better at it. And then there is no questioning anymore. It just becomes automatic, and you listen, even if you don't want to. You take that pause and you listen, because you realize that there is something that's taking place that you should be aware of. I find it just, out of all of my work, I think how spirit communicates with us as individuals to guide us through our lives is just amazing to me.
So it's interesting. My brain kind of went off in another direction because, her and I in previous episodes, we've talked a lot about intentionality. Not only to be a producer, but also to, put compassion where there may have been judgment, or weigh into love instead of when I have fearful thoughts. What I didn't realize though, being connected and extremely intuitive my whole life as well, because spirituality was the unseen world, I kind of just sat there and waited for spirit to come find me. So, even in the title of your book, Believe, Ask, Act, there's intentionality with that whole process there. So can you talk to me about somebody who wants to experience themselves inside of a renewed sense of spirituality, or spirituality just in its beginning stages? What could that look like? What could that sound like? And maybe even talk about spirit guides and angels.
I think that there's two things to that, because I think sometimes you can feel like you're sort of stuck if you've been waiting and that nothing's moving. And so you have to change things up a little bit. And I think that someone should be prepared to maybe get out of their comfort zone a little bit and change it up. And so if you find that you're on that hamster wheel, definition of insanity, kind of doing the same thing over and over again, I think that you have to be prepared. You have to ask spirit to show you a different way, because obviously something's not working or you're not seeing it in a different light. And so you have to start with changing your perspective. If it's not working for you, let's change it up. A lot of people ask me all the time, what do I do? How do I practice my spirituality? I exercise a lot. That's my meditation. I release certain things, but in certain ways I meditate. But the thing is that it's consistent. And so if you're going to pick a practice and if you're going to get into spirituality and use it in your life, you must not dabble. This is definitely a practice. And I would say that consistency is the biggest answer. And you can make it as vast or as small in your life as you like, as long as it's consistent. And I think that takes away that feeling of it being so big and so overwhelming. Like we're reaching, like you're saying, there's this big, massive universe that we're tapping into, and we're making our manifestation boards and we're writing our intentions. And those are all wonderful. But if you're inconsistent with it, you will lose that vibration. And really what you're trying to do is keep that vibration on a steady level. And you're going to have great days and you're going to have horrific days and you're going to have mediocre days. But the point is to just try and keep it consistent, because with all of those days, you can navigate through. That was exciting. What was that?
Someone was just getting a confirmation.
Wow, that was a nice I hear you.
Seriously.
Nice.
That would mean
it's consistency, Joshua. You have to kind of just keep it consistent. And that needs, again, to work. Be outside of your comfort zone a little bit. It has to work for you. We're busy. We're mothers, we're running, we have jobs, we're husbands and wives and whatever we are, and we have our daily lives. It has to work in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming. And it has to work in a way that feels, again, true to you. But consistency, always.
Okay.
Harmony and balance, and compartmentalizing, being present. One of the things that through my transformational leadership has taught me is to be present. Look, if I'm thinking about what I got to do when I get home tonight, that looks like overwhelm. I'm tired already. But if I'm right here, I'm hanging out with you, I'm spending time with people that I love and looking to make an impact in people's lives through other people's gifts, right? That is one of the truest gifts, is being present. And I think that's what a lot of what you're saying. In order to hear, in order to be able to receive, what our angels or spirit guides or whoever is trying to tell us, you got to be present with yourself. You got to be listening. You got to be open.
Well, and I think too for a long time, I was making my spirituality look like other people's, right? So, similar to you, because I think on a live video recently, I heard you say meditation's not your go-to.
No,
for lack
it's
of
really
better
not.
words.
I'm not very good at it, actually. I mean, I've been meditating since I was 5, but it's just, I'm not very, I don't whip out my crystals too often. And I do have to remind myself to give a good sage every so often. I mean, but I always do my grounding work, and I always express gratitude, and I consistently get out to do some exercise to clear my mind, to get out of my spiritual hangover, I call it, if I've done a lot of reading, especially. And it just has to be consistent, whatever that is for you. I love to write. I like to write it out. I love to channel and do automatic writings from spirit. And those are practices that anybody can do, but it has to feel, like you said, true to yourself. And if you're out of balance, spirit will have no problem showing you that you are out of balance. If I'm reading too much and not taking care of myself, they will cancel appointments on me. They will they do. And it's amazing. They will shift my schedule around. Forget Mercury in retrograde. My spirit, my guides have me in check, and I always trust that, because if a project doesn't happen, there is a reason why it didn't happen. And I am more grateful in the end for it. And so I'm still learning and always will be. And as we all are. And so as you go through these moments and these periods of connection and non-connection and trying to figure out, but it's always about balance and keeping it in check and knowing that they're there for you.
I want to direct the attention to the viewers at home. I know that it is captivating to sit and watch conversations like this happen and process what you're hearing. But please, if there's questions that you have, or if there's anything that you want some clarity on, chime in. We've got lots of people watching right now, and people, I think you're just maybe hearing some profound stuff, but please take the opportunity to reach out and have us translate some questions to MaryAnne. I heard you just say that your spirit team has you in check sometimes. Is that what you call your universal team? And if spirit guides are in your universal team, how do you connect with them? What are they? How do they work?
Well, you have loved ones on the other side, and then I have sort of like this universal team on the other side that's what I call our guides. And we have, the way I have always seen it is that we have one guide that kind of ushers us in and ushers us out. And then we have other guides that come in different points in our life to help us with different things. For me, they are a human representation of pure light. And so if I see Native American, or if I see a Buddha next to somebody, or a Hindu next to somebody, there's a reason why I'm seeing it. And then I, as the medium, will translate why I'm seeing it that way. So usually if I see an Egyptian next to somebody, they're working on communication. And so that guide is going to come in and help them with communication. If I see a Buddha next to somebody, positive affirmation, right? Positive words, looking for positivity in their life, bringing in more light. And so that's the guide that's going to help them out with that. And so those are our guides, and we all have them. Everybody has a team on the other side, and they are here for us. They want us to succeed. They want us to be happy. They want us to find fulfillment in our lives. And we're supposed to sort of be working with them. Every single one of us has the ability to do that. No one escapes that. Even if you think you're not connecting, you're connecting. They've got you. It doesn't really matter if you believe it or not, but it is helpful if you do. And if you connect with them, loved ones on the great guides as well. They just, for me, they work in a different capacity. They're more about family and you and yourself and your well-being, and just giving you messages of confirmation that they're with you and that they're near you. But I find it really kind of powerful knowing that they're there helping us.
The good old white light.
Yes.
I've seen it. After my grandfather passed away, there was a hovering white light hanging out in my bedroom, which I thought was a little weird. I'm like, can you go to the dining room or something?
I'm trying to sleep.
He sure did. I was like,
okay. Intention.
Yeah. I think they communicate through other people sometimes.
Absolutely.
He gave a message to me. I wrote him a note, quick story. I wrote him a note, and my grandfather was a really big part of my life. And I wrote him a note, and I said, I really hope that you're proud of me. I would love to know, because he also wasn't that communicator. He wasn't that guy. And after his funeral, I had someone twice removed from my family come up to me and say, I don't know why I'm supposed to tell you this, but your grandfather wants you to know that he's really proud of what you're doing, and you keep doing it. And you're going to be fine without him. And I was like, what? Allow the waterway, allow the waterworks to come again. Really? It's hard not to believe when things like that happen to you. She wouldn't have known that I was seeking validation from him. She would have had no idea. But I got it, and I carry her team.
And they use other people. Absolutely, they do. They'll use the people around you. They'll use cues and repetitive themes in your life to get the point across. And if you pay attention, you really can get some great guidance.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got a really good question here from Liz Flores. And actually, it's exactly the same question I was getting ready to ask you. So she's connected.
She is, actually. I know Liz.
Okay.
Connected.
She says, what's the most important thing that I should do daily to stay consistent in my practice and help me hear my guides more? I've been struggling with the consistency and hearing them for a while.
You should every day wake up and pick something to be grateful for. It creates a direct conversation with them right off the bat. And it's not to say that you're walking around without gratitude. That's not the point of doing it. What it is that it cues the universe. It raises your vibration immediately because already you're waking up with a higher vibration by saying thank you for something. Kind of clears away the muck. You know, if you're finding that it's a little foggy and you're unable to hear and your messages aren't coming through with the clarity that they usually do. And so when I do that, I bring in the light every single day into myself, and then I will express gratitude. And every single time I do that, it starts a conversation with spirit immediately. So Liz, you could try that. Everybody can try that. It's a wonderful way to make connection and kind of get you back on track.
I love it.
Awesome.
So have you seen a client truly transform after connecting with their spirit?
Yes, I have.
Tell us.
I've seen clients come to me feeling incredibly lost, especially when they're so grief-stricken. If I had to really think of one, I have a client of mine who lost their daughter a few years ago, and in a very tragic accident. And she came to me with such tremendous grief, it was really even hard to grasp. And after I gave her the reading and her daughter came through so strongly, the grief is still there. Obviously, she's lost her child, but the belief of knowing that her daughter is near her and on that other side, from what her and I have spoken about, was really life-changing for her after losing her daughter. And I think that's the biggest transformation and the most profound to me for doing this work, is that when people are hearing me speak to them with their loved ones by my side, giving me the messages, and then they're hearing that confirmation and things that I couldn't know, I find that they walk out really going, wow, they really are there. And for me, that's a big transformation for people over and over and over again. And it's one of the main, I'm still fascinated by it. And even when I'm reading people, I'm like, really? You get that? Because some of the stuff that flies out of my mouth is crazy. But
you're like, did I just say that?
Understand it, and it's really such. I know for me myself, it's such a peaceful feeling knowing that they are there.
It is.
Yeah, and I know for me too personally, it's almost every time. It's always the strangest when I ask for a specific sign, or I ask my angels to come into a certain experience and help guide me through it by opening my heart, or letting me have creative solution, or helping me see love where I only see fear. And whenever I have a defined moment or experience where I've been answered, my spirituality it expands or up levels or shifts or transforms instantaneously. And Mikey and I, my husband, we had some really strange experiences, one big one in Bali. And I'm in full-blown tears, like, I just can't believe it's real. I can't believe they're actually talking to me. How am I so special? It's not me. It's not that I'm special.
I love you, but you're not. I'm kidding.
It's everybody has this, right?
Yes. We are all born with the ability to connect to our loved ones and our guides on the other side. Every single one of us are born with that innate ability. It's the biggest gift that the universe has given us. Our intuition, that inner voice, that is them. That's them helping us. And to your point of looking at fear with love, when you start to do that, you hear that voice even more clearly, because it's our voices that are filled with fear and doubt. Those are loud, harsh voice that stops us, and keeps us from doing everything, gets in the way, that pesky fear. That's us. And when you learn to tune into that intuition that's been given to us by the universe, your whole life can change. And why not you? All of us can do this. Do I think that everybody should be translating somebody else's information to them, like mediums do and things like that? But you don't have to do that. No, I just happen to do it for a living. That's what I do. But we can all make connection. And that should never be a doubt in anyone's mind.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of that, you teach workshops and mentor private clients to develop their own abilities. Tell us about that.
That's fun. I love it.
I bet it's
so much fun. I have to tell you, because I love when people, some people really aren't even sure why they're in the workshop. They sort of walk in a little bewildered, and they're kind of walking in. They always say to me, I'm not really sure why I'm here, but I think I'm supposed to be here. Or they'll say to me, I don't have any psychic ability at all. I was just curious. And that's why I took the shop. That's why I'm here taking this workshop. And by the end of the workshop, they're hearing spirit, writing from spirit. They can't believe they are experiencing what they're experiencing. And really all they did was they listened to spirit's cue. They saw the workshop and they said, I don't know why that interests me, but let me take it. And that's spirit telling them, you need to take that workshop because you're going to hear things and you're going to have this experience. And so they pay attention to the pull. And so, and the same thing with mentoring. When I'm with a one-on-one client and we're working, months developing their mediumship or their psychic ability, or just having them learning how to tune in to empower their lives through love, wellness in their life, business, whatever it may be that we're focusing on. And you can see that climb and that change of transformation that takes place and how they really are so amazed at their own abilities. It's just fascinating to watch. It's really so much fun. And I love when I'm like, I told you can do it. I mean, I'm a big I told you so, because they'll say to me, oh, I think I'm crazy. I think it's my imagination and all of this stuff that they come in with doubt. And when they start to let that go and you see the floodgates opened, it's great.
Yeah, I would say that it's a different experience because it feels like the guidance or what I'm hearing inside of me is me, but not from me. Mm-hmm. It's from someplace else. And so is that what you're alluding to when you say, I feel like I'm just making this up or it's not real?
Yeah.
Okay, so people need to pay attention to that, yeah?
They do, because I think, and I know for myself, before, I didn't really learn to know how to read people until, later in my life. I sat with a spiritual teacher. I recommend everybody take a class or take a workshop and really learn how to do this if you're looking to do it for other people, especially. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until my teacher said to me, spirit comes in your own voice, right? And I was like, what? Because I really thought it was like the creepy, like sort of disembodied voice. Like I was expecting to hear
the TV version.
Yeah, I was like, hello, MaryAnne, we're here to guide you. And it's like not that at all. And
like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, exactly. When I heard that, it made perfect sense to me. That hindsight voice, that voice when you're like, I knew I should have done that. That little small little inner voice. That was magic to me when somebody told me that, because I was reading, then I understood completely, and I was reading people with just in a couple of weeks, but I was also able to really finally start to hear my own guidance. I understood why I made certain decisions in my life, mistakes that I did. I mean, just things that, I shouldn't say mistakes because there are none, but lessons that I needed to learn and why I made those decisions, the path, that probably could have been easier if I made another choice. But, these are the things that are here for us. And that is here for us to learn. And when you have that tool and you have an understanding of what that voice is, there's no mistaking. You'll never question it.
Yeah, it was planted. It was planted inside of us when we were created and when we were born. And my Holy Spirit is loud, but I have to be open and be listening and be willing to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me too, it was, sometimes the guidance I'm given is the decision that my ego, my human, doesn't want to do. And so when I'm feeling an urge to go to a direction that feels uncomfortable, I have, and proudly so, I have been able to fine-tune myself to lean into uncomfortability because I'm always going the right direction when I do, uncomfortable means connection. Yeah.
Out of your comfort zone with just like a smidge of fear of excitement, but you're supposed to do it anyway. Those are really magical moments. Fear, different, heavy, impeding, stopping yourself from moving forward. That's a completely different feeling. But that little gut of excitement that's going, all right, I'm going to give this a try. I don't know. We'll see. But you're just going to take that leap of faith and you're going to go with it anyway. Perfect.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I know Mikey and I, my husband, we've already had a personal conversation around both of us wanting to take your mentorship program. So we're excited. We've already talked about it. He is crazy connected, and he really is beginning to have a desire to know more.
Yeah.
If somebody right now is questioning whether or not this is the right thing for them to do, or let's say it's not a question, like they just want to step into it, what is the best way to connect with you and jump into this mentorship?
Right now, the best way is if you're looking for the mentorship, you can follow me, go online, go to my website and email me, because that's the way I'm doing it now. It's very personal. The mentorship is one-on-one. And so that is a personal thing that I do. And I do not take too many clients. So because I really want it to be so personal that you have the time that I need to give for that type of journey. If you're looking for, I recommend that everybody take some sort of a workshop though. That I think is key to getting started. And actually, if you really have a little doubt, a workshop is great because you then are with other people. And I can't tell you how many people have told me that they've made friends with other people in the workshop and that they continue to have conversations after the workshop is done. And I think you create this great little network that starts to take place for yourself, which is wonderful. I know I found my own little psychic pod of people. It's wonderful. And, just meeting people through doing this work, it gives you a sense of, just other people who are into it and are understanding it, and you don't feel so alone. And those you can all find on my website at MaryAnneTheMedium.com. Under events. I'll have workshops in January, and my mentorship program is currently running.
Awesome. So next question. I have one here. It's a lot of times people suggest to let go of the past and just move on. But have you ever seen the past be truly indicative of the future and with clients?
I'm funny about the past. I don't know that it's always about moving on. I think sometimes we have to move with things and stop thinking that we have to move on from things or move forward from them. I think when you move with the experience, you then take a learning lesson with you with that. And then isn't that the most powerful thing that we can take from, I just spoke about mistakes that I've made, right? And things in my own life. And I think that if I really try to just disintegrate that past, I spent years trying to do that, burning things from the past and really trying not to bring them up again. But I think that when we embrace them, we can leave the past in the past, leave it there. We don't have to have the experience again, but if we move with it just a tad, we could take the learning experience with us. And that's really the most powerful part of it. So for me, embrace it more than anything, the past.
We call that experiencing your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we spoke into that last week. I had a moment of, just profound gratitude because I realized that, I was really just suppressing a lot of my experiences and a lot of my past and wearing a veneer of I'm okay.
Yes.
But my vibration was not okay.
Yeah.
And so sitting with the feeling of the experience and being okay that it happened and using it as a master teacher is where, we have found there to be some, that stagnant air starts to move again, right?
And
everything is not staying there.
Yeah. That master teacher comment is perfect. This is a school. We are going through grades. We are learning as we go. Sometimes we pass a class. Sometimes we don't do so great. Sometimes free will gets in the way. And so our choices are what they are. If we can reflect on that, the book of our whole life just gets really good and beefy, doesn't it? And then it becomes a manual. And then we use it again and we go back and we're like, remember chapter 2? I don't want to review that again, right? And so we take the learning lesson out of that and we put it forward. And if we could start to pull all those pieces together, what a great story we make. And so, hold on to the gritty. Every story has a gritty. Every story
the biggest
has a low
thing for me
point. Yeah.
It was like no regrets around the past.
No.
Because we talked about blame, shame, and persecution last week, and how the past will cause us to blame and shame ourselves for getting it wrong. We live in a society where everybody wants to make the other person wrong. We want to make ourselves wrong. And look, whatever happened is what happened. Mm-hmm. There's something to be learned in everything that we do, and to have no regrets around that situation. And to know that it's okay. I didn't get it right today. My motto
surrender to it.
surrender, and I live in excellence, not perfection.
That's right. That's right. And I always feel, and what I've been learning a lot about lately, and Joshua, you and I had a personal conversation about this too. I think when you're embedded in this world and you do this work of spirituality, you forget that, you will have falls, and they will be deep ones at times, and you will not be able to rally quickly just because you are connected in some way, and that there's a learning experience that goes along with all of that. And so when you surrender, though, and you surrender to the accountability within, you surrender to the role that you played, and I find it so liberating and so freeing when you do that. And so for me, Spirit teaches us and gives us these lessons and has us continue to walk through them. And it's incredibly powerful to know that we can always rely on the tools of the past because they tell a great story.
They do.
And how about for somebody where the past experience maybe resurfaces again for a rude awakening?
Well, we can repeat patterns. And so we do want to make sure that if we find ourselves repeating the pattern, that we go back to the lesson that we learned. And then you're able to get out of that pattern quickly. If you go back and you recognize, wait a minute, this feels really familiar, and maybe it feels familiar in a negative way. It could feel familiar in a really positive way as well. And then, of course, you just want to go with that. But if it feels familiar in a negative way, if you've been learning and if you're practicing the spirituality, then you're going to know and have the tools to navigate out of that in a more productive manner than maybe you did last time. And that's really the trick because, things do come back up. But use your guides and use your angels on that other side to show you a different way. Ask them, show me a different way. This feels familiar. I want to be in a better space. And so give me the tools in order to do that and navigate out of it.
So we've talked about numbers being communication. We've talked about the ladybugs and animals being, signs of communication. Are there inanimate objects that can help people, open up with communication as well?
Yeah, I mean, I have my great grandmother's rosaries, and I love to hold her rosary beads. I love if you can hold something personal of somebody that's passed. I think that's a wonderful way to feel connection. Crystals are great. A lot of people let the crystal pick you. You don't go and pick the crystal, right? You're drawn to a crystal for a reason. They're calling you, and I think they're wonderful conductors and energy holders. You can hold on to them. They're fabulous. Get those. Sage is great. When I smell sage, burning sage, I'm immediately open. I'm like, oh, hey, Spirit, what's up? And I'm already wide open. And I think writing is a wonderful way to communicate. Do you automatic write? Do you guys do that?
Yes. It is a practice now because when I went to your live event in New York a couple of years ago, you literally pointed at me from stage. You go, automatic writing. That's for you.
Did I scold you?
Yes, and I finally pulled it out and did it.
Scolded. Yeah, I do scold a little. Spirit scolds. I just deliver the message in the way that they want me to. But yeah, automatic writing is great. It's wonderful. Even if it feels like a to-do list. I just told somebody the other night who they couldn't get the words down that they thought should feel poetic and no, she's a list maker. I said, you're a natural list maker. Make a list with Spirit. Just do that. And what you're trying to accomplish or what you're looking to change, how you're looking to empower yourself, whatever it may be. And just get to writing and pen to paper, not in text, not in tech. Do it take a pen, sit down, find that quiet moment and do it pen to paper. It's wonderful to put your energy in that way.
It's so freeing. That's how the book came to be. Yes. Is because all of these things just kept coming to me and I kept writing. It was crazy.
I love that.
But you already know that.
Yeah, I outed you.
But we already knew that. So we have one last comment that we want to address from Carrie Geddes. Sorry if I chopped your name. Love your book. Learned a lot as I was starting to connect with mediumship. You were sought out by people looking for a medium. Early on, did you approach people when their loved ones connected with you, or did you wait to be approached?
Oh, I think she means, would I just randomly start reading somebody?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
No.
That's not weird at all.
I know. Well, it makes me think of that woman, and we don't need to say her name, that has the TV show who's kind of out there.
Yeah. I think
and
they
just attacks people in the
Yeah,
grocery store,
Yeah,
I got word for you.
I mean, they're kind of prompted. Those people aren't surprised, I'm sure. But I always tell people, when you're looking to be a medium and you're just starting out, I take what I do incredibly seriously. I mean, I love to joke around and I have a lot of fun with it because I think we need to laugh together, especially when we're speaking about the subjects that we have to have some fun. But when you're learning to do this work, please do it with responsibility. There is a way to deliver a message. There is a way to decipher what's going on, why spirit is showing you something. I have to translate that into my mind. I have to use my frame of reference, and then I have to deliver that message in a careful way. You're dealing with people's feelings and dealing with people's lives. I always say what I see, but there's a way to deliver it. You don't know if that person wants to receive that message. I've had plenty of times where spirit, when I was first starting out, before I learned how to shut down, and tune them out while I'm on my free time, where they would be knocking. And no, I do not deliver. I would not do that, especially in the beginning.
That's amazing. I mean, we are transformational coaches too, but through a different program. And sometimes you have to be very careful about how you deliver the message, and you have to really listen to the person and know what they're going to be able to hear and how they're going to be able to hear it, which because if you deliver it the wrong way, it's in resistance.
Yeah. I mean, I trust spirit. I know how to deliver a message at this point, and I trust why I'm delivering it. I know when it's a safe time to say something. I know there's a reason behind it. Maybe someone needs a little push, or and I know that they can handle it, things like that. But it's always in a setting that feels comfortable and safe. And I think that you people who do this work absolutely 110% should be trained how to do it. Nobody should just go out and start reading people. It's not nice.
Yeah, well, for me, it started with little things, right? I would get an intuitive kick to tell the woman at the grocery store that I thought she was beautiful, or I would stop and hold a door and tell someone, thank you, or whatever it might be. And as I began to be in action with it, it got louder and louder and louder and louder, right? So is that a good place to start?
Absolutely, that I will do.
Well, she clarifies friends and family, not strangers.
Friends and family, I would ask them first. If you're a trained medium and you've been doing the work, I would ask them, I may have a message from spirit. Would you like to receive that message? And let them answer. And that way you're giving them that in or that out if they want to receive the message. As far as compliments in the store and things like that, I do that all the time. And I am fully convinced that is from spirit. Absolutely. And I think that's just a beautiful way of spirit telling us, pay it forward, or that person might need a smile today, without getting into their business and without stopping you honestly from your day. So please pay attention to those cues. I love that.
That's right. And that causes connection and kindness and all the things that people are hungry for in society today.
Yeah.
People, when we're coaching, a lot of the times I hear I'm lonely, isolation. Yeah. People, because of all of the things we've talked about, blame, shame, fear, all those things, they've isolated themselves. And so one word of kindness, one pay it forward, one showing up for somebody could literally be life-changing.
Well, and fear can feel like prison, right? I mean, I oftentimes would not say anything, even as kind as it could be. I wouldn't say anything because of fear of what that person's going to think of me, or a fear of how stupid or silly I might sound, or fear that a woman might think I'm coming on to her, and trust me, I really don't care. But it's, it was just all these fears. And as soon as I stopped playing small to love and started playing small to fear and stepped into love, it was wild. I got a 20% discount at H&M today because of it, and I didn't even expect it. I just wanted to give some love,
you start a ripple effect. You're letting go of that horrible word of judgment, which we all carry and we all give at some point. And when you let go of that and you're just sort of in your moment, we were talking about, being in your person and being in that present moment and going with what feels really good. There's a reason behind it. And you're trusting it. You're not questioning it. And then you start this beautiful ripple effect of high vibration. That person walks away going, wow, that person said this and that made me feel really great for the day. Maybe they'll give that to somebody else. I think it's just a wonderful gift to give, even if they do side eye you a little bit. I mean, I'm a New Yorker, they give me the side eye, but I do it anyway. And
we're always transferring. We're always transferring energy, and we're always we always talk about people's power, and people can give it away from a positive experience or from a negative experience. And sometimes their energy is so powerful, it can take down an entire room.
That's right.
I believe that. And like you said, things have energy. We were talking about crystals. People have energy. We all carry some form of energy.
We're all, a lot of us, most of us are empathic and very open to all of that. And so we're walking around, like these dried sponges. And when we get into a room and we get around people, what happens? We just inflate with that energy, good, bad, or indifferent. And so we have to sort of recognize that within ourselves and within others. And this way we can not only manage our vibration in that moment, but we can also manage the room for ourselves.
That's right. Speaking of you being a New Yorker, I hear you have one last gallery reading coming up on November 21st. Yeah, can you tell us about what somebody might...
Wrapping up the year.
I went to one a couple of years ago. I took a few of my closest friends as a Christmas gift. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, we all walked out of there almost at a loss for words. So I could talk all day about it, but I'd love to hear you talk about the event coming up on November 21st. Where and what could somebody experience if they're in a room with you?
It's an open gallery reading on November 21st is right. And that's in Melville, New York at the Melville Marriott. Tickets are on sale now at Eventbrite if you want to go. And it is an experience. If you've never been to a gallery reading, you've got a few hundred people in the room, not even, maybe a couple of hundred people in the room. And I read the room. I basically try and get to as many people as I can. And I always tell people, and I don't know if you experienced this too, if you found this when you were in the gallery reading, but even if I'm not speaking to you personally, I always feel like there's a universal message that's being received. And if you truly want to feel spirit around you and feel other people's stories of healing and hear messages that are so confirming that there is something happening on that other side that we're to be aware of, join a gallery reading. Go to a gallery reading. Please come to mine. They're for me one of the most amazing. I get the most amazing feedbacks from gallery readings because people it's unexpected what they experience. So it's fun.
So I've never told you this, but when I went to your gallery reading, you were speaking to somebody else, not me. And she was talking about having anxiety. And you told her, you said, next time you experience the anxiety, I want you to recognize it, but recognize it as it's not your own. It's actually your angels are around you and your spirit guides are present and you're feeling the vibration of them. And step into that space rather than something's wrong with me, right? So I experienced that actually after the gallery reading, boarding a plane, and I had never automatic written before. And so I was like, okay, I'm having anxiety. So I stepped into angels, thank you for being with me and protecting me on this flight. And I grabbed my pad of paper and I just wrote until we reached 30,000 feet. And I went back and read what I wrote, and it was so crazy. It was so crazy.
It's not your words, right? Yeah.
No, but yes, it is so true. When you're reading the room, messages come through that I so badly needed to hear. So thank you for that. And other people can be excited even if you don't touch on them personally, yeah?
Yeah, they do. And I often hear that sometimes the room's a little overwhelming for some people. They're there to just experience it. And they're kind of grateful that they weren't read. But then they will always come up to me afterwards and they'll say to me, I understood what you were saying when you were talking to this other person. It made sense for me too. And I always tell people, pay attention because, spirit kind of gets together in a room like that. And if they find similarities with each other, they'll team up. So it's like, oh, yeah, your name's Joe. Yeah, me too. Oh, you died this way. Oh, yeah, me too. And so they'll sort of get there and you see people like, I think that makes sense for me. And I'll always stick with the one. But often people like across the room will say, I couldn't believe what you were telling that girl. Everything made sense to what you were saying to him or her, whatever it was. And I think it's just amazing. And then cool. You also get the experience of just, honestly, the room, you could feel the spirit in the room. You could just feel everything that goes on in there, and it's just, to me, it's a lot of fun. I like doing them a lot.
100% true.
Yeah.
Listen, I hate to even say these words. I know. We've got to let her go.
That went super fast. You are incredible. Yeah, you're incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for your time today and your words.
You guys.
I know you are a woman in demand, and with your little 5-year wait list.
Let me tell you something. The two of you are doing beautiful work. the energy that you're putting out and what you're giving to the world. I was honored to be part of it tonight, because I know that this project that the two of you are doing together and with your lovely husband, Mikey, I know that everything that you're giving to the world is something that's so needed. And so I'm sure your listeners are just going to receive a lot of love and affirmation and everything that they need from both of you, and healing. So good for you.
Well, thank you so much. You've made us feel extremely important, yes, which is always matters. But I'll tell you what, until next time, I love you. Thank you so, so much.
Love you so much.
It has been a joy to have you on The Truth Revival, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.
Okay, see ya.
Whoa.
I have to take a deep breath. Is she not just so lovely?
Yes,
I know.
Amazing. I loved it. That was super fun and very insightful and eye-opening. And look, it's a message for everybody. No matter what you believe in, no matter the Trinity, the Holy Spirit, whoever is your guide, whoever you listen to, I think it was a message that all kinds of believers could receive something from.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Love is the most beautiful expression, right? Love and joy, right? And so,
an experience.
I think sometimes people get really caught up in, their spirituality or their faith not looking like someone else's or someone else. I think that we see it a lot where people are like, no, that's wrong. This is right, or this is right, and that's wrong. And spirituality and a relationship with God is such a personal experience. And it doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter how you do it. Do it naked with music. Do it quiet in the dark with Palo Santo. It doesn't matter, right? It's just a matter of doing it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Well, you give them their reading, their cards.
Okay, so we pulled cards. She got
like the most important card I've ever received in my entire life. I choose love, no matter what. And for those of you who know me, and for those of you who I don't know yet, that's right. I come from a place of love and abundance. And that's why this show exists, because we want you to feel like you are loved and that you are related to, and that we hear you and want to help you live that free life.
I just saw that as a tattoo written right here on your arm.
That says what?
I choose love no matter what.
Listen, I got this boy coming home, my 19-year-old son. He wants to get some ink when he gets home from the Army. So maybe that's what it'll be.
Listen, I'm going to be there. So my card was, through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world, which MaryAnne spoke right into a ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
How relevant is that? So the card for everybody at home this week is...
Hope is the conduit for miracles. Ooh.
Hope, listen, I talk about hope a lot, especially I love reading about placebo effects. And when somebody is given hope in a hopeless state, it can be medicine like nothing offered on the market. It's time to go. It's time to go. Oh, man.
But we could probably talk all night.
I know. It's time
and love on you, and love on you, and love on you some more. But I've had no sleep. And it is time to go be with my family. So
true that.
Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We cannot wait to be with you next week. And we have some really cool things in store for you over the next couple of weeks. So be sure to stay tuned and share, because we want to be able to make the biggest impact possible.
I'm Joshua James.
Amber Field.
Thank you for joining us on The Truth Revival. Join us next Sunday at 7 p.m.